your goal is for your butt to come all the way back to your heel, all right?
Perfect.
Okay, guys, so you guys want to learn how to kick higher. I obviously don't have a problem with it, so you don't have to worry about me. This isn't about me. I didn't need help here. Oh, voice crack. I wanted to bring on, we've talked about flexibility. I've done video on stretching. We've talked about the body mechanics of kicks. So I want to bring on the king of hip mobility, the swiveler of all swivels.
These hips don't lie.
Those hips do not lie. Yeah, so we want to talk about hip mobility, and we're going to get Mr. Enkamps 3. Is that right?
Yeah, I thought we would do 3 exercises to open up your hips that you can do at home, which is why I'm not at the dojo today. And I assume that a lot of people watching this don't have their own dojo like you and me, so I guess you could do this at home instead.
Yeah, right, exactly. I'm with it. I'm here for it. And the only reason I came here is because I wanted to warm up.
You look pretty sweaty though, so that's good. I already did my session earlier today, so I'm pretty warmed up already too.
They say the most active people sweat easiest.
I think that's a myth.
No.
Okay.
It's a myth that it's a myth. But I sweat doing like 10 jumping jacks. I'm a profuse sweater. Okay, well, let's get into it. A sofa? Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to, you need a wall. Exactly. Yeah, just use the wall over there or something like that. That works.
Okay, so what's first?
Yeah, so the first exercise looks like this. So I'm just going to go over here to my sofa. If you don't have a sofa, you can use a chair or just a wall, all right?
Yep.
I'm just gonna put one leg up like this. Can you see my foot over there?
I can.
Good. And it's gonna come up against the wall or the back of the sofa. Okay? This way. You good?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Now, exactly, you're in a perfect position. Now you want your knee to be right under your foot. Exactly. And on a straight line.
Gotcha.
Now what you do from here is you just slowly lean back and have an upright posture.
Okay.
Right. And look, your goal is for your butt to come all the way back to your heel. All right?
Ooh, okay. Gotcha. So I'm working on coming backwards as a whole.
Exactly.
Dropping in. Okay.
No. You're not going to the front. You're going back. Let me show that. So here, foot, right, knee down, and then I raise my body up and back as I push my hip forward actively this way.
Okay. And you'll feel this here?
Yeah, exactly. So that will really open up the front part of your hip flexors. Now, the key here is to have a contrast between tension and relaxation. Okay. So I want you to squeeze your butt as hard as you can and then relax and try to move a little bit backwards. Then you squeeze and move backwards. Contract, relax, just like that. Whew. So you gradually move backwards.
Yeah,
relax,
right.
Contract. Relax, contract. Relax, contract. All the way. If you can, you touch the wall with your butt.
How do you work your breathing with that? Do you relax with the breath out? Contract with the breath in, or because it's kind of the opposite, like you would breathe into the pain.
So this is super important because you want to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. That's the rest and digest part of your nervous system, which tells your body that this is a safe and okay position to be in. Because usually if you lack range of motion, you're gonna be very tense and it can feel a bit dangerous, right, or uncomfortable. Right. So the key, like you say, is to actually breathe into the stretch to teach your body that this is a safe and okay position to be confident in. And then, once you're in this position, try to find different parts internally, externally, opening up your hip and hit different angles. See, like this or like this.
Yeah, inside, outside, gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. And look, you can just hang out in this position for like 10 minutes and you will blast that hip right open. The floodgates are open.
Yeah, no, I can tell. I feel it. I feel much looser already. It's one of those where you do it in a regular stretch and you're like, oh yeah, that feels good. I can do that. But like once you do certain things, you're like, oh, okay, it can go further. There's another level to it.
But it's very important to be careful because it can be very powerful, especially if you're not used to it or if you have very tight hip flexors, right?
Yeah,
But the great thing about this is you can do it at home easily. All you need is a couch or a wall. So that's why I like this to be the first stretch.
First off, I get a lot of questions on people's hip popping. If your hip pops when you kick, maybe your answer is the same as mine. My answer is usually see a physician because I'm not qualified. But you may know more than I do about this. If somebody's hip pops, like I'm assuming it's like a tightness or a tendon that's like moving over top of the joint or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Could be. Right.
There is nothing extraordinary you need to do. Yeah. But that reminds me, I heard that if your knuckles crack, you can crack the joints in your fingers, just like you can crack or pop the joint in your hip, right? And actually, that's supposed to be a sign of a healthy joint because you have a lot of joint fluid, which produces bubbles that pop.
Interesting.
Okay. I don't know if that's completely true.
As long as it's not like a painful, like, because what I imagine is like when people are, the difference between clicking and popping, I think.
Yeah. But obviously, if there is pain, that it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. It just means that you're outside of your comfort zone. So my best piece of advice is baby steps. Yeah. Gotcha. Gradually increase your range of motion. It's mobility is a long-term project, but it's so important because as your flexibility goes on this scale up, your risk of injury goes down just as much. So for injury proofing your body, flexibility is super important, not just for high kicks, but just for staying healthy.
Stretch number 2, what you got for me?
All right, cool. Okay, so now we're actually gonna face the wall or the back of the couch instead. Like this. I'm just gonna put one foot up on my sofa. Okay. Then I'm just gonna drop my other knee down to the ground. Just look at that. My knee is almost at the height of my shoulder.
Okay.
Whew. Right, exactly. Now, this is sort of a similar position to the previous posture, but not exactly the same. Now I also get a lot of ankle mobility on that front leg. So look, if you lean forward, just put weight on the bent leg, not on the leg that's on the ground.
Should this one be on the ground or should it be covered?
This is straight.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm supporting myself here and I'm pushing myself on top of the elevated leg because I want that ankle mobility at the same time. And this is the key. Reciprocal inhibition. I want to activate the glute, meaning my butt, on this leg. As I push myself into the stretch, I then naturally stretch my hip and open it up in a more functional manner. Because, the muscles have opposing muscles, the antagonist. When let's say I flex my bicep, that means I naturally stretch my tricep. So if you want to stretch your hip, you need to contract your butt. And that's what we're doing with this stretch. Plus, we get some ankle mobility too. So, squeeze your butt, push yourself on top of this leg, and then try to just wiggle around.
I was going to say, if I know anything about you and your hip mobility, there's lots of movement that goes involved with it, right?
Yeah, you always want to be digging around because the hip-pelvis complex is so advanced that you want to kind of dig around and find those tight spots or knots that you might be, finding once you start hitting different angles. So I always advise people to play around and find different spots because everyone are going to be different, right? Don't just stretch in one plane of motion. Where would you rate your flexibility? Let's say on a scale from 1 to 10, where 10 is super flexible and 1 is stiff as a board.
I'd say I'm a 6.5, 7.
Really?
Yes. A lot of people think that I'm like that I must have really good flexibility and I can like do the splits and stuff like that. I can't do the splits. I think
Me neither.
I think I have above average overall flexibility and a good enough understanding of like the body mechanics and stuff like that I can kick high. But on average, most of the time my flexibility is very like it's better than the average person for sure.
Right, but you train that ability. You weren't born that way.
No, yeah. Also, I mean, I've had who knows how many years now of stretching.
Exactly.
Day, right. Especially when I was a kid, it was like inbred into me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't use the word inbred based off of where I live.
No, but the point I'm trying to make is that people think that either you're flexible or you're not. But most people who are flexible, unless they were some genetic super freaks that were born that way, they actually had to put in those hours of stretching and mobility and dynamic stretching and opening up those hips, for instance, like we're doing right now. And it's just you got to have patience. I think that's just the thing that's lacking when people talk about flexibility.
Well, Jesse, there's not a secret pill that I can take to get really good hip mobility.
Oh, exactly. There's not. I'm sorry.
One of the most frequent questions I get is, how long is it going to take for me to be more flexible?
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
No, exactly. And it's a case-by-case basis. One person it might be fast. Other person might take a long time, right?
Yeah,
so
right.
Last stretch is a slight variation on the previous one. Going to hit a different part of the hip, more on the backside now. So look, I start the same way. One foot up here. I'm going to show it this direction. But now look, I push my knee out to the side. So I'm in this position.
Right.
Okay? I'm going to show it over here.
Okay.
One leg, and then I let my knee dip to the side, and then I stretch straight on top, just like the previous stretch. But now I get more of the glute and the backside in this position. See that?
Yeah, this is definitely the one I have the most trouble with. Anything that's along the outside, I have a big problem.
Yeah. And this one is excellent if you have a lot of, especially if you have a lot of lower back pain.
Yep, sure do. That's me.
Yeah. And same thing right here, but this time, see if you can have your knee touching the surface plus your foot touching the surface. Yeah, just like that. Perfect.
Now, am I going hip forwards here? Am I trying to go body over top?
No. You want to have a posterior pelvic tilt. So you want to do kind of this motion with the hip.
Yeah, okay.
You want to push it in, and then see if you can just lower yourself slowly towards your leg, and then push yourself up with the bent leg, with the front leg. Okay. So look, I'm just going to show it to you. I'm going to lean down this way, and then I lift myself using my leg muscles only. Don't use your arms. Yep. Exactly. Now lift yourself up by pushing with the leg. Dude, you're doing really great. So now you're activating those muscles that you actually want to stretch. Stretch in a more functional manner.
Right.
Really good. And then you do the same thing, but 45. So you lean to the left and you lean to the right. As far as you can.
Here, I'll go in this one.
Yeah. Good. Don't go too far. Might be difficult to get up. You're doing great. So right now we're actually using an active element of strength as well, which is really important to be able to actually use your flexibility. Because I know a lot of people want to do the splits and have these kinds of, passive positions of flexibility, but that doesn't really translate to those explosive high kicks that a lot of people seek. So you need the strength too.
Yeah, right. No, absolutely. And that makes sense because I can have I can have good flexibility, but if I don't have anything to pull it up there, then I'm never going to use the flexibility.
Exactly. And that's why I personally find the split pretty much, of no use.
Right.
It's just flashy.
So what's your alternative to the split? Is doing these different movements here?
And I do a lot of active mobility work in kind of postures and positions that mimic the end result that I want to achieve. So if I want to be good at kicking, I should be stretching in postures that are close to kicking. Right. If I want to open up my hips for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, then I should be doing more stuff on the ground because this is known as the specific adaptation of imposed demands. It's a sports science principle, which means that your body becomes good at what you do, basically.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, because if you stretch for 21 hours a day and you don't kick anything, your kicks aren't going to get any better.
Right, exactly.
Right, that's why I never stretch. Well, Mr. Jesse, sir, I appreciate you hopping on. Do you have anything that you want to push or promote, or anything that I can do to thank you for hurting my body today?
Well, I mean, if people want to learn more about how to kick and stretch and stuff, just check out some of my other videos. I've got tons on it.
Cool. I'll make sure I link you right here. If you liked this video and you want to see more, make sure you make sure you subscribe.
And smash that bell button.
Smash that bell button. And if you don't subscribe, I'll have no choice but to kick you. Ready? Whoop, bow! Bow!